What's up YouTube, back at it with another video. Today we're going to be looking at a pretty good deck, a pretty cool deck I would say as well, something to keep an eye out on in this meta that we have along with Melis, Mitsurugi, Ryziel and all the other decks roaming around. I think that you might be seeing quite a few of Memento decks out there in the wild as well. We know that this is a deck that won 2 YCSs in the last few weeks, so it's definitely been gaining some traction, and I think it's fully deserved. Also, with Abyss Dweller being banned, this deck only got stronger. So let's take a look at it. Let's see how this deck usually looks like and what cards you may run in it. Of course, starting with the big boss monster. I could have left it for the end, but I mean, let's just go right at it. It's a great monster, a great card, 5000 attack, 5000 defense. You want to put all your cards into the graveyard and then you can summon out this guy, and he is really the card that you need during your opponent's turn in order to be able to kickstart a lot of your plays, interruptions, disruptions, and just overall interaction that is going on during your opponent's turn. And then an OTK machine as well later on with Akihiron, which you will be able to see. Moving on from that, of course, 3 Memento Anguish, one of the best cards in the deck. You want to start with it if you have it. It has 2 effects. It does a lot of heavy lifting for this deck, and it's, I would say, definitely a mandatory 3 of, along with another card that you want to play 3 of in this deck, and that is Tatsuno Toshigo, the horse, seahorse, however you want to call him. Great card. You want to summon him out for free, pop him, send a few cards to the graveyard, and then you are just popping off. In this build I decided to play one Dark Blade, only one Dark Blade, because you will see later on that we're playing the Fiendsmith engine as well. So one Dark Blade is more than enough. Sometimes it even comes up that you special summon him with your Bone Party during your opponent's turn to pop a pesky back row, but it's also 1-card starter, same as Anguish, because this card gets you Anguish by popping itself. So these are some of like the most obvious and most important cards in the deck in terms of like starters, but they're not the only ones, because you also run to Goblin. Goblin can also be a 1-card starter. He can also do everything that you need your deck to do if you open Goblin, so you're also quite happy to see this guy as well in your opening hand. And you will see later on that with our spell card, with our Goblin spell card, we can bring him out from our deck as well. And then a bunch of one-offs. You have 1 Mace, 1 Akihiron, 1 Sleepy, and 1 Gerik. All of these are important, all of these are necessary, they all have their functions. And Mace is really good as well, because you can start off your plays with this card as well. You can normal summon him, pop him to search whatever you need, whether it's Bone Party, your Seahorse, or whatever else you may need, because it can search you any Memento card in the game in your deck. Akihiron, great, enabling OTKs. You put up Creation King and your boss monster, your combined creation, that's 8000 on the board, and that's how we sometimes win games. Last week in the Nationals, my opponent had like a full Mitsurugi board. We went through some interactions. He still had a lot of cards on his board, but you know, I put out Akihiron. Later on I put out Combined Creation, Creation King. I said Battle Phase, and he was like, oh, that's game. And I said, yep, because I don't care about your field right now. So yeah, Gerik is important. Sleep is also your fusion card as well. You can fusion summon using this card during your opponent's turn too, so it just has a lot of applications. This deck isn't quite simple to play. To be quite honest, I'm still kind of learning it and struggling with it a little bit, but I think it's also really rewarding, because it's one of those decks that actually do make a better player out of you. Now moving on, one field spell, and then 3 bone parties, really important cards. I decided to run 3 Memento Fusion. Sometimes you can run 2, but I felt like I also really want to get to this card, enjoy it, and see it as soon as possible, so I feel like maxing out on it just makes sense. And then the 2 Grand Breakouts, because you bring out your Goblin to start off your play. Sometimes that's how you begin your turn. As I said earlier, we are running the Fiendsmith engine in this deck, so we're playing 3 Engravers, and then obviously standard is 1 Lacrima, 1 Lurie, which at this point should be called Fiendsmith Lurie, but it's fine, and then 1 Trek. We're not playing Fiendsmith in Paradise in this version, but you know, it's a card that if you really like it, if you want that, you know, interaction to send Desiree to pop, you can do it. Running off our main deck will obviously be our hand trap lineup. In this format I decided to go for 3 Perulia and 3 Fuvalos. You know, sometimes if you really draw badly, if you're going second or first, you don't have any other starters, but you draw your Goblin Grand Breakout, you normal summon one of those, tribute them, put out your Goblin, and then you're good to go. Also playing 3 Droll and Lockbirds because Mitsurugi is in the format, and quite a lot of, you know, just other rogue decks as well, so you want to get all your bases covered if possible. And then just rounding it off is a playset of Forbidden Droplets. You can send so many cards from your field and hand. You have a lot of quick play spells as well, so you know you have many points of interaction where this card is extremely powerful. And then 1 Triple Tactics Talent and 1 Called by the Grave. So you will notice that I'm not playing the Horned Dragon in this build. You can play it, but for me personally, more often than not, I just didn't have as much use for him. Anyways, moving on to our extra deck, we'll play 2 Creation Kings, one of the most important cards in the deck, as well as 1 Twin Dragon. You want to get your fusions as soon as possible, and those 2 are the way to go. And those are the cards that really propelled the deck to be what it is today, because it was much needed support, as well as Memento Fusion. You play 1 Baphomet as well. Really good, really important, and I would say necessary in this deck. And I decided to play 1 Guardian Chimera as well, because you can summon it really easily. Memento Fusion doesn't just fusion summon Memento monsters, it summons any fusion monster, and Guardian Chimera is a fusion monster that sometimes comes up, whether it's because of the pops, whether it's because of the draws. Usually it's because of both. Then we will move on to our Fiendsmith engine, which will be obviously 1 Requiem, 1 Sequence, 1 Magnum Day, 1 Moon of the Closed Heaven, basically a Fiendsmith card at this point, and then obviously we're rounding it up with 1 Desiree, 1 Princess. We need this in at least Secret Rare or something. Konami, come on. Battles of Legends maybe, hoping for it. And obviously High King Caesar. You know, this card doesn't love me. Anytime I make it, it just gets outed immediately, whether it's an Imperm or Droplet or I don't even know what, but it's so good, it's so strong that you just gotta play it, you gotta go for it, and sometimes it will win you a game automatically. We'll round off our extra deck with 1 Crush Ship, with 1 Proxy F Magician because of its fusion summoning effect, and then 1 SP Little Knight, which you are quite happy to be putting on the board as well. And then this is just my current side deck, but you know how it goes with side decks. You put in whatever you feel like is necessary. I do think we will all agree that Lancias are necessary, so we play 3 of them. I also went for 3 Meowls. I was thinking about playing Chaos Hunters, but I just ultimately decided to go for the full Molcharmi line. So this kind of covers, well, mostly Melis, but you know, Lancia is good against a bunch of things, Christian as well. I sided 3 Ash Blossoms. They are good when you're going first. You side out your Molcharmis and Ashes, then protection against your opponent's activated Molcharmis. I also decided to play 3 Dogwood just for, you know, a bigger tournament. I figured if we go into time or whatever, you know, I can maybe cheese out some wins if push comes to shove. But you know, as I said, it's a side deck. You can play whatever you want. But I'm a fan of Dogwood. You know, it comes up, and you know, yesterday I had about 50,000 life points when my opponent just decided to play through Dogwood. So that was funny. And then the last 3 cards are 2 Lightning Storms and 1 Feather Duster. So this is the deck. Obviously, let me know if you want to see a bit more in-depth look at it, because it has a lot of combos, it has a lot of interactions, a lot of things that you can do with it, and I would just suggest that if you kind of want to improve as a player, if you want to challenge yourself a little bit and not, you know, get into a comfort zone and not be on like autopilot, pick up Memento, because it will force you to learn and to improve as a player. And you know, it may not immediately give you all the wins and all the glory, but if you stick with it, it will reward you. And I think that's just the best feeling, you know, when you learn, you improve, and then you get to reap the rewards. Anyways, guys, that's it for this video. I appreciate you, and see you next time. Have a good one.